The Code of the Extraordinary Mind Summary by Vishen Lakhiani. Introduction. The Code of the Extraordinary Mind provides guidelines on how people can help themselves find a more purposeful and exceptional way of living. Lakhiani founded the Mindvalley, a prominent academy that focuses on personal development. He has culled his wisdom from his associations with a broad mix of business leaders, spiritual gurus, and media tycoons among others. Lakhiani is a computer engineer and is quite familiar with the process of breaking down components of a program and putting them back together, making a better version. He adopted this paradigm in the concept of personal growth by presenting a way of life which initially involves a systematic breaking away from constricting social and cultural patterns and proceeds to pinning down one's heart desires and focusing on a profession that will make a mark in the world as large as a version of a truly meaningful existence. Key takeaways. 1. Exceptional persons do not allow themselves to be caged in by traditional beliefs. 2. Exceptional persons reject standards of behavior that they are programmed to adhere to. 3. The restructuring of our belief and value systems that interfere with our goals is called consciousness engineering. 4. Exceptional persons deliberately focus on thoughts that are in alignment with their desired goals. 5. Exceptional persons readjust their habitual actions to achieve self-mastery. 6. Bending reality is the healthy balance between personal fulfillment and making a difference in the life of other people. 7. Exceptional persons achieve happiness by practicing discipline, or the values of gratitude, mercy, and generosity. 8. Exceptional persons have control over their life objectives. 9. Exceptional persons do not require other people's affirmation, their source of validation comes from within. 10. Exceptional persons pay attention to their inner voice which directs them to their life purpose. Here's a glance at what you'll learn from Vishen Lakhiani in this episode. 1. How Vishen went from being broke, sleeping on a couch to founding a global education platform that is positively changing millions of people's lives. 2. Vishen shares the beliefs, systems, and practices of legendary leaders like Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Arianna Huffington, and many more. 3. The 2 biggest mistakes people make when it comes to achieving more success and happiness. For Vishen reveals the spark that moved him to write his new book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. 5. Live a life that speaks to your soul. Vishen explains the difference between means goals and end goals. 6. A 3-step method for upgrading your system for living. 7. The one thing all extraordinary people have in common. 8. How to break free from the rules that hold you back and craft a life vision that aligns with who you truly are and changes the world. 9. What the culture's cape is and how you can step out of it and transcend it. 10. The way to turn pain and failure into learning, insight, and transformation. 11. The 3 most important questions to ask yourself if you want to live an extraordinary life. 12. Consciousness engineering, 2 principles for accelerating your personal growth and rapidly upgrading every area of your life. 13. A system you can put in place in your company to attract and hire talented people from around the world. One of the best biographies written by a billionaire that everyone should read. Key concept number 1. Exceptional persons do not allow themselves to be caged in by traditional beliefs. Most of our practices and beliefs, which are handed down to us by family and society, significantly influence the way we think and do things. For most of us, it becomes a comfort zone further exacerbated by the fear of breaking family traditions. Conformity is a given in most societies. Civilization and Its Discontents, a book written in the 1930s by prominent psychologist Sigmund Freud, discusses the pressures of social norms on primal human instincts. Freud raises the idea that people use standards that are not valid for measuring power, success, and wealth for themselves and others, since these measures don't apply to what is truly valuable in life. While conformity assures order and continuity of social institutions, however, once they are ingrained in people, it translates into people's inability to evaluate choices, particularly on what truly matters to them. This culturescape, or the sum total of norms and beliefs that are handed down to us, are accepted as normal and therefore unopposed. There is a need to break from this culturescape. It is a crucial step in learning other liberating values and beliefs. Key concept number 2. Exceptional persons reject standards of behavior that they are programmed to adhere to. If we are not aware of these rules which have been handed down to us, it would take a long time to realize how largely they have shaped our existence. We are most familiar with the pattern where children take up professions of their parents. Take, for instance, a girl who is born incredibly creative, but this talent is stifled since she opts to be a lawyer just like her father. However, she turns out as a mediocre lawyer, not because she did not develop the skills or she lacks the aptitude for lawyering, but because her heart was not into what she was doing. Eventually, she leaves her profession and pursues art, her real calling, and becomes a successful artist. Finally, she realizes that she pursued lawyering as a career because at the back of her mind was her father's rule: there is no money in art. While the time she spent as a lawyer is irretrievably gone and wasted, she makes her newfound wisdom work for her in further identifying other patterns in her life that limit her to become fully what she is. It is true that by following rules, life choices are simpler and one is not fully responsible for decisions one makes, which explains why we seldom challenge cultural or societal norms. Doubtless, it requires a lot of courage to ignore age-old rules, but the gains are remarkably immense in terms of personal growth and fulfillment. Key concept number 3. The restructuring of our belief and value systems that interfere with our goals is called consciousness engineering. Most of the time we are caged in by our biases developed from learned ways of thinking that hamper our genuine desires and interests. The good news is we are flexible enough to change our culturally restricted views to more personally motivated thinking. It is good to remember that our beliefs form our reality, and it follows that positive practices can lead to a more productive and constructive life. Research has shown that we experience reality based on our belief system. For instance, elderly people who approach aging positively have a longer lifespan of almost 8 years compared to those who fear to get old. Similarly, people who are confident that they are qualified for a job position are likely to get hired, since their positive outlook enhances their ability to be resourceful and to project confidence when going through the application process. Key concept number 4. Exceptional persons deliberately focus on thoughts that are in alignment with their desired goals. Our thoughts form our reality, so exceptional people have learned to deliberately decide on what to think, and these thoughts are always in consonance with their desired outcomes. Mind-body interaction author Louise Hayes, in her book, You Can Heal Your Life, 1984, reveals her personal story on the efficacy of thinking positive in spite of the likely chance of negative results. When she had to move away from New York City, she was confronted with 2 big problems: how to sell her personal stuff and how to tell the grumpy apartment owner. Faced with these difficulties, she visualized an easy transition through mantras that state she will be able to sell everything and that she always has been in good terms with the apartment owner. She was indeed amazed when her landlord felt bad about her leaving and even offered to purchase her things so he could later rent out the unit as a furnished place. On top of it, he volunteered to recommend her to her future landlord. Hay's personal anecdote strongly illustrates how our thoughts shape our reality. Key concept number 5. Exceptional persons readjust their habitual actions to achieve self-mastery. Evaluation is always a part of systems management, but it requires a performance standard. For instance, a criterion for a man's fitness is to manage 50 push-ups. Failure to pass this evaluation should make him decide to redesign his lifestyle from diet to exercise to sleep regimens. The point is, evaluation should be flexible enough to adapt to specific structures or organizations. After all, systems are tools for achieving goals. For instance, a woman who is about to get married is expectedly swamped with details of the wedding. But her end goal is ever clear. She wants a perfect wedding where everyone, including herself, can enjoy in an overall atmosphere of sharing and love. To be able to achieve this, she has to let go of hands-on management and learn to delegate tasks such as what flowers would best fit the wedding decor and what would be the best menu for the after-wedding reception. If she is brave enough, she can also give her wedding guests the privilege to choose their own seats. Tried and tested systems are applicable in almost all aspects of life, from home to workplace relationships. Organizing one's thoughts, particularly on how to make better everyday activities, optimizes possibilities. Twyla Tharp wrote about this in her book, The Creative Habit, 2006. Though written in the context of artistic pursuits, she maintains that the habitual way of doing things is just as important in the artistic process, maybe even more than the sudden emergence of inspiration. Additionally, she says that there is no such thing as artistic genius. Creativity is achieved and learned through a routine process which everyone can adopt. By extension, she is saying that exceptional people have learned to cultivate the merits of habitual actions for productivity. Key concept number 6. Bending reality is the healthy balance between personal fulfillment and making a difference in the life of other people. There is a term for that state of perfect harmony with one's desired goals and state of wellness. It is called bending reality. For instance, while happiness can be achieved by simply picking up a book and reading in a cozy and shady part of one's patio, but to maximize this seemingly insignificant routine, one should pay attention to the need to do this habit in alignment with one's life goal or objective. To illustrate, a woman may be happiest when she does ballroom dancing simply for the sake of dancing. She finds the dance sessions relaxing, but unknown to her, it is when she is free from stress that her intuition is at its sharpest. It is likely that her feeling of freedom from angst as a result of her dancing inspires her to put up free movement lessons to interested persons as a tool for improving their wellness as well as their means of self-expression. In this sense, she is bending reality because she uses her desire for dancing not only for her self-improvement but also to achieve her goal to have an impact on the world at large. On the other hand, if she limits dancing simply for her enjoyment in the confines of the dance studio, she narrows the boundaries of her growth and her potentials. Key concept number 7. Exceptional persons achieve happiness by practicing discipline, or the values of gratitude, mercy, and generosity. Being in the moment and being happy at the same time needs self-discipline, particularly if one has limited leisure time or when one is into a big project such as managing a business or aiming for a job promotion. To do this, one must develop the habit of being grateful, merciful, and helpful. Lakhiani calls this discipline. People who are naturally appreciative have a pleasant disposition which generates more feeling good aura. Forgiving and forgetting hurts and disappointments means letting go of resentments by refraining from blaming others for one's failures or unhappiness. Most importantly, generous acts always considerably increase our feeling of self-worth. Never use the bad things that happen to you as an excuse to justify a negative attitude. It is expected, for instance, that you will feel upset if a trusted friend betrays you. But it is good to realize that you have a choice on how to react. You can hold on to the fault, or you can look for the lesson you might learn from the incident. In The Secret of Happiness, David Miller refers to a strong character as one who achieves happiness by making other people happy. In fact, he says it is the only kind of gesture that generates true happiness. When we are appreciative of blessings, when we forget hurts done to us, or when we give, these are the roads to happiness. Key concept number 8. Exceptional persons have control over their life objectives. People choose between two types of goals. Firstly, there is means goal which can only be achieved with the help of other people. An example, for instance, is aiming to stick to one intimate partner during one's lifetime. Secondly, there are end goals which are dependent exclusively on an individual's actions. A good example is being a successful writer. End goals are more fulfilling because it helps a person grow, and at the same time they create a positive impact to a larger community. An example is Bill Cummings. Cummings is an American billionaire philanthropist who introduced the uncommon practice of giving benefits to his real estate employees. He could afford this because his company was considerably profitable and stable. Hence, wanting to create a permanent positive work environment, he turned toward improving teamwork in his company by creating a mechanism where all his staff can donate $1,000 to an organization of their own choice. Cummings did not do this to create media mileage for his company, which could have been a means goal. Rather, he created a situation where his employees can experience the happiness that is generated by sharing. This was the end goal for Cummings. In doing so, he also allowed his employees to reconnect with fundamental values that generate a sense of self-worth and well-being. Key concept number 9. Exceptional persons do not require other people's affirmation. Their source of validation comes from within. To attain your fullest potential, you have to have true grit or extreme emotional and mental toughness. People with this quality are referred to as unfuckwithable. This means you do what you have to do to reach your goals, unmindful of the challenges and what people may say or think about you. In short, you are sufficient unto yourself and you don't allow yourself to react to outside opinion. Sometimes we perceive high-profile people like movie stars or famous politicians as unfuckwithable. But it does not follow that popularity makes one untouchable or immune to adversarial opinion, since success or prominence does not translate to a strong character. Take the case of prominent writer and thinker Alain de Botton. He could not handle the negative review on his book The Pleasures and Sorrows of Work, 2009. The viciousness of his response to a particular blogger shows that he has allowed the blogger's opinion to affect him. Despite being a best-selling author, de Botton was vulnerable and exposed the fact that he was not unfuckwithable. Actor Gabourey Sidibe, however, showed what true grit is. Her response to the mean comments on her Golden Globe Awards dress in 2014 was to tweet that she did cry over the comments while on her private plane on her way to her dream job. What a subtle way to get back at her detractors, and what a way to demonstrate self-worth and toughness. Key concept number 10. Exceptional persons pay attention to their inner voice, which directs them to their life purpose. Extraordinary persons first develop their optimal potentiality and then they focus on improving the quality of life of others. It is at this point that they realize their higher purpose, although it is often something that defies rational explanation. This is so because each individual is a part of the God particle, which makes one a godical. Only those who recognize the divine in them are ready to use their skills and thoughts and manners, which are nothing less than godlike in nature. In addition, those who recognize the divine in them are potentially able to experience deep insights on different levels. For instance, an actor diagnosed with cancer might think of putting up a self-therapy project. It is likely she gets into the project as a way of diverting her attention from the stressful thought of having a terminal illness. As she gets deeply involved in her project, she is able to put her life in perspective, and it motivates her to adopt a healthy lifestyle as well. She brings this mindset to her TV series, which gets the nod of a producer who eventually offers her a new TV show. Visualizing her future on a TV star, the actor, given her expanded consciousness, realizes that the illness and her turning into an advocate for cancer victims is integral to her life's journey. This discernment is part of her growth in spirituality and an understanding of the divine nature in her. As she moves on with her life, she learns to trust her inner voice, her intuition, or call it her godical, which directs her to align her decisions to universal truths.